Number one for today, we have the Jordan 4 Bred Reimagined. I'm sure tons of us are super excited to get a Bred 4 back in general since the last release was in 2019, but I'm not sure how to feel about the leather reimagined aspect of it. I think I would have preferred a simple vintage, aged look with the original materials like we saw in the Jordan 1 Lost and Found, but overall, I still like them. It's definitely not nearly as bad as the Jordan 1 Royal Reimagined. What a up that was. I don't know what the team was thinking, reimagining them as some Jordan mid sitting at an outlet. Anyway, these drop on February 17th for $215 on Nike sneakers, Nike boutiques, and corporate retailers like Finish Line and Foot Sites. Also, you could expect an early shock drop for these and many more for upcoming hype sneakers, so make sure to follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, for urgent updates on these. And for early information on all kinds of shock drops and much more, Endurance always has your back, like the recent Jordan 12 or Jordan 1 Satin. Endurance always has your back, along with much more, which goes far beyond just sneaker reselling. So if you're looking for a profitable side hustle, you could consider joining with the link in the description below. Anyway, you can expect these Jordan 4 Breds to be profitable with a good margin. Despite it being a new material, it still is one of the most sought after Jordan 4 colorways, and Jordan 4s just have really solid demand in general. Let me know if you're planning to grab a personal though. Evidently today we're going over the top 10 Jordan releases for 2024 that we know of so far, at least. Specifically, we're going to be mentioning the release date, the retail, and whether each one is going to be profitable or not. If you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, make sure you subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you're updated on all these and how you could get your hands on them. Next up, we got another Jordan 185, this time the Jordan 185 Metallic Burgundy. Now, this actually is not the Jordan 1 Metallic Red colorway. It's actually slightly darker, and now it's going to be making its return in OG form, the 85 cut. These drop on February 16th for $200 on Nike sneakers and Nike boutiques. 85 cuts have managed to maintain pretty decent demand on each release and remain profitable, and I think this will remain the case for these as well, so most likely lunch money or slightly better with a subpar to decent margin on most sizes and slightly better for the larger sizes. Next up, we got another Jordan 4, and this time it's none other than the Jordan 4 Military Blue. These drop on May 11th for $215 on Nike sneakers, boutiques, and corporate retailers. These last released all the way back in 2012, and believe it or not, these actually were not the most hyped back then, but I think this time going around is definitely going to be different. The colorway is quite similar to a UNC colorway, which has been in very high demand in the last few years, combined with the Jordan 4 silhouette, which people have started to like even more in the last few years. We're also getting the Nike Air on the back of these, just like the 1989 pair, which I'm sure we're all very happy about. With that said, I am expecting these to be profitable with a good margin and potentially even more in large sizes. This should definitely be a great release to look forward to, whether you want to make some easy money or if you just want a pair of these classics for the toe, as I know I certainly do. Next up, we got the Jordan 1 Legend Medium Brown. These are dropping on May 29th for $180 on Nike sneakers, boutiques, and corporate retailers. Obviously, there's one huge reason why many people are going to be excited for these. Yes, it is a clean colorway, but more importantly, it's very reminiscent of the Travis Scott Jordan 1 colorway, or in general, the Travis Scott vibe with brown and black. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, the Jordan 1 Palomino bricked, so these will too. And I don't think that's going to be the case, and here's why. One of the biggest patterns with Jordan 1 colorways is the best colorways have three things: black swoosh, white mid-panel, and a white toe box. The Palomino had none of those. Meanwhile, these have all of them. Now, I'm of course not expecting these to do as well as the Mochas, but I'm definitely expecting them to do good enough for profitability with a good margin, better than the majority of Jordan 1s we've seen recently at least. Now, this is just a mock-up, but I'm pretty sure the color blocking is accurate. Let me know if you guys are going to try to snag a pair of these for personal. But next up, speaking of Travis Scott, we got another Travis Scott Jordan silhouette, in fact, a new one, and this is the Travis Scott Jordan Cut the Check. I'm sure we're going to be seeing other Travis Jordans too, but they haven't announced them yet. Of course, subscribe to stay updated on all those. Anyway, we'll be seeing some of these released later this year in 2023 towards holiday season. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated on how you could get them, but I know at least one of these is going to be dropping in summer 2024, and I think it's this pair, FZ8117-001. If this was not a Travis sneaker, I don't know if many of us would have given this silhouette the time of day, but in all honesty, seeing how they do look, I am a fan of them. I really like the design, especially the strap, so I'm excited to see if Jordan Brand decides to make more of these in 2024 with different colorways or even collaborators like Meunier or Union. That would be really cool to see. With that said, I am expecting these to be very profitable with an incredible margin in all colorways, full throttle. Expect these to drop on Nike sneakers, boutiques, and the Travis Scott website via raffle, but we all know how that's going to go. If you guys want to watch my recent video on the backdooring situation, make sure to check it out. I'll leave it linked at the end of this video so you can watch it when you're done. Next up, we're seeing the return of a classic colorway for the first time since 2016, but in new form, and that's the Jordan 11 Space Jam. These drop on April 13th for $190 on Nike sneakers, boutiques, and corporate retailers. Ever since sneakerheads and basketball fans first laid eyes on the Jordan 11 Space Jam in the movie, these have forever been cemented as a classic. Unfortunately, it is not the return of the high, it's just the lows, but nonetheless, I think many people are still going to be excited for these just because of the colorway. Despite that, I'm skeptical of them being profitable. At best, I'd expect lunch money to brick profit with a poor margin in large sizes, potentially only if you have no tax or have local buyers, but we'll see as we approach the drop. Regardless, I think lots of us are going to be really excited for this drop just for personals. But next up, we have another colorway of the Jordan 3 J Balvin, this time in black. These are going to be dropping in summer 2024 for $250. Expect these to drop on Nike sneakers, boutiques, and J Balvin's website, just like the last pair. Given how hyped the last pair was, I'd expect this pair to have very similar demand. They have the same gradient rainbow color, and the only difference is that the primary is black rather than beige. If anything, I'd expect these to perform slightly worse than the last pair, but nonetheless, they should still be profitable with a decent to good margin, even with that high price tag of $250. Of course, I would expect many more collabs to pop up closer to 2024, but this is one of the biggest ones that we know of as of right now. But next up, we have another colorway of the Jordan 1 Low Chinese New Year. This time, it is themed for the year of the dragon, since it is 2024. In addition to the culturally themed colors, we get beautiful details of dragon scales across that green part of the sneaker. I was born in the year 2000, the year of the dragon, so I'm really hoping I could get my hands on a pair of these, but I know it's going to be difficult considering how these Jordan 1 Chinese New Year releases work. I know a lot of them are extremely limited. One pair I know was 5,000 pairs, and they mostly released just in China, so it's going to be a difficult one, but nonetheless, we're going to try our best, of course. Anyway, I'd expect these to be profitable with a very good margin like other colorways of these Jordan 1 Chinese New Years that we've seen in the past. I don't think this one is going to be too different. Now, so far, we only got 8 out of the 10 sneakers. Honestly, considering what we know is dropping so far, I'd say those next two have yet to be determined, but I'm going to give a few honorable mentions to you guys to decide which ones belong in the top 10 from these, or maybe it's one that I forgot to mention. So comment below which 2 pairs you think deserve the slots as of now, but we'll say temporary slots because I think much better stuff is going to pop up as we edge closer to the new year. First, we got the Jordan 3 Midnight Navy dropping on January 13th for $200. This colorway is very similar to the True Blue Jordan 3, only without the red. While Jordan 3s haven't been performing the best lately, I think this would definitely be one of the better colorways. With that said, I think they have potential for brick profit or lunch money with a poor margin, especially if you have no tax or local buyers, but that's best case scenario. Next, we got the Ama Meunier Jordan 17 Beach Cabin dropping. This is just a mock-up, but regardless, however they look, since it is a Jordan 17, I'd expect them to just be personals. Of course, we're going to see many more collabs much better than this pop up. It's just very far out right now. But next up, we have the Jordan 1 Yellow Ochre. This pair is going to be dropping on January 27th for $180. It's very similar to the Jordan 1 Taxi, of course, but the shade of yellow is a bit different, and the material appears to be suede or nubuck, which is definitely interesting. But the reason I could see them doing slightly better than the Taxi isn't for that. It's because they have a white toe box, if you recall the pattern I was describing earlier. Overall, I don't have high expectations for these, but maybe there is some lunch money potential with a poor margin for no tax people, or if you have local buyers. Then we also got the Jordan 4 Women's Sale dropping sometime in 2024. I don't know exactly when, for maybe $200. That's the word as of now, but I think it might be $225, unfortunately. This is just a mock-up, but you could see it's a very similar vibe to the Frozen moments, and for that reason, I could see them performing quite similar. But if the retail retail is only $200, then some money could be made on these. I can't confirm if that's the case as of now though, so I'll have to keep you guys updated. Then we have the Jordan 1 Obsidian gum dropping in the summer for $180. They sort of remind me of the Georgetown lows with this combination, and those didn't have crazy demand. The swoosh also is in black, so overall I'd say they'll mostly be personals, but it's definitely not a bad colorway if you want them for personal. Then on May 4th, the Jordan 3 Georgia Peach is going to be dropping for $200. These are very similar to the Fire Red Jordan 3s, and if those ended up being mostly personals, I'd expect the same or maybe even worse for these. Then on May 25th for $180, we'll be seeing the Jordan 1 Team Red drop. Like the last pair, I'd expect these to just be personals too. And lastly for today, we're going to be seeing the Jordan 1 Green Glow drop for $180 on April 6th. I'd expect these to mostly just be personals too. Guys, 2024 is looking really solid for Jordans, and we're so far out. This is only the beginning. We're going to of course see many more, and I'm going to do a full video on every single release closer towards January. However, I must say that my favorite part about 2024 is definitely the Nike basketball releases. At least for me, somebody who entered the game during 2012 and 2013 when Nike basketball was really hot. These were some of the sneakers that were like the biggest deal back then, and they still are going for tons of money. Like they're still super hyped up. Obviously Nike basketball in general isn't as hyped as it used to be, but these colorways in particular are like a really big deal. In fact, it's really even hard to believe that a lot of these colorways are going to be coming back, and I'm sure a lot of you guys who've been collecting sneakers for as long as I have, or maybe even longer, could definitely understand why 2024 is such a big deal of a year. So feel free to check out my video on that if you guys are interested to see which pairs those are. I'll leave it linked at the end of this one, but other than that, make sure to leave a comment below which 2 pairs of Jordans you think belong in the top 10 list that I made. Honestly, I don't think we have those next 2 Jordans yet, but maybe it's something I forgot to mention. You know, I'm definitely not perfect. So if you have one that you wanted to mention, drop it in the comments below, and I'd love to see it. Remember to check out Endurance with the link in the description below if you're looking for a profitable side hustle, something productive to do with your spare time, something that goes far beyond just sneaker reselling, but expands to every single market for reselling literally anything that's going to be profitable. So if you have a second, feel free to check it out with the link below. But other than that, subscribe to stay 100% updated on all hype sneaker releases, and of course, make sure to follow my Twitter for urgent updates and info, and good luck on all these upcoming releases. We got a lot of great ones ahead.